you know where to look, Oregon history books can come to life with one of the oldest and perhaps even darkest chapters of Oregon history, one that even predates Oregon's statehood. Hi there, Grant McComey here, your host for Travel Oregon's Grant's Getaways. And this week we embrace history as we see a chapter of the state that you may have missed. Join me as we go down a trail of discovery at Fort Yamhill State Heritage Area. A stroll across Fort Yamhill State Heritage Site with Ryan Sparks is a bit like time travel.
The soldiers would have congregated on the grassy area out here in formation to do drills and things like that.
Back 150 years to the time of pioneers, Native Americans, and U.S. soldiers. Sparks says Fort Yamhill was a blue line of more than 100 soldiers above the Grand Ronde Valley. They provided protection for 500 Native Americans from 30 tribes who were forced here in 1856. Today, you can still see signs from those times inside this original officer's house, one of 6 built at the fort, and remarkably, it is well preserved.
Original hand-hewn beam down here, log construction for the rafters. It's the weight of the roof that actually holds itself in place.
I am struck by the fact that this is standing 150 years later.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable.
This is one of the original buildings here, so we were really fortunate to get that.
Fort Yamhill's story isn't always a pleasant one. After all, the Army was here for a purpose. Back in the 1850s, waves of immigration bringing new pioneers reaching a peak. And the Army's purpose here as a thin blue line was certainly protection of Native Americans, but it was also the government's big stick. The big stick centered on the blockhouse, a military presence that couldn't be denied. The original blockhouse survives in Dayton, Oregon, where it's being restored as centerpiece of a city park, and you can visit any time. Back at Fort Yamhill, it is a memory that remains strong 3 generations later.
The fort for us is not just a place of subtle hostility, but it's also a line of protection.
Eric Thorsgaard says the irony of Fort Yamhill is that the military presence was despised at the time, and yet without it, the people who were brought here so long ago might not have survived.
Reservations are probably the biggest detriment that happened to Indian people, but it's also our saving grace, allowing us to continue our culture and our language and our traditional practices. We could have gone the way of the dinosaurs.
In fact, the Grand Ronde tribes have partnered with Oregon State Parks so that all the stories from those days will be told and connect you with enduring Oregon history.
Part of the nation's history, and it's important for everyone to understand it.
Fort Yamhill is one of several state parklands that hold on to important history. You might also consider Thompson's Mill State Park near Shedd, Oregon, the Kam-Wah-Chung Museum in John Day, Oregon, and the Sumter Gold Dredge in Sumter, Oregon. Each of these parklands puts you in touch with unique stories about the early days in our state. We provided the details, directions, and contact information right here on the Travel Oregon website. So until next week, get out here and explore the great Oregon outdoors and let Travel Oregon be your guide. For Travel Oregon, I'm Grant McComey.